So hello everyone, my name is Carr and I'm a marine biologist and I'm currently working on marine advocacy with the environmental NGO, the Irish Wildlife Trust. So people mightn't realise this, but Ireland is actually a hotspot for whale biodiversity. We get so many different species of whales. We have minkies, humpback whales, we even get sperm whales sometimes, orcas, fin whales, right up to blue whales. So as you can imagine, whale watching is a very popular ecotourism activity in Ireland. But unfortunately, less than 2 weeks ago, one of Ireland's oldest whale watching tour operators had to close its doors. And the reason behind this is because the whales are disappearing from Irish waters. So why this is happening is because there's currently an unregulated and unrestricted fishery for sprat in Irish coastal waters. So sprat is a small silvery forage fish and it is the basis of the marine food web. There's so many species that rely on sprat, not just whales and dolphins, but also seabirds and other species of fish that are commercially viable. So whenever this species is taken out of the marine food web, it has devastating impacts the whole way through the ecosystem. So currently there is no quota for sprat in Irish waters. So what is happening is completely legal. ICES have said that with the precautionary principle, a sustainable amount that could be taken from Irish waters per year would be 2,500 tonnes of sprat. But over the past few years, what actually has been taken has been over 14,500 tonnes of sprat per year. And last year it was actually closer to 17,000 tonnes of sprat. So that's a huge amount of fish that's being taken out. And the Irish government is doing nothing about this and is completely legal. So it's not just conservationists and environmentalists that are complaining about this. Scientific researchers are calling for a ban on this, and even the general public are calling for a ban because they can actually see what's happening. There's huge trawlers, they're over 18 metres in length, and they can come right into within the 6 nautical miles of the Irish coast. So they're coming right into coastal inlets and bays, and people can literally stand on the beach, stand on their coast, and they can see these vessels coming in and completely wiping their local bays of this really important, vital forage fish. So there's public outcry about it as well. And the rest of the fishing industry is also calling for a ban on this because there's only around 30 boats that are actually fishing for sprat in Irish waters, while there's around 2,000 Irish vessels that are registered. So the rest of the fishing industry is calling for a ban as well because, like I mentioned earlier, sprat is so important for so many different species, including commercially viable fish species. So it's having a negative impact on the fishing industry. So why is the Irish government not doing anything about it? There was a public consultation on getting a ban on the big trawlers from coming in and clearing the bays of sprat. This happened a year and a half ago, and we have heard nothing since. Well, we've contacted the government, we've also put in parliamentary questions, other members of the government have raised issues, and we all get the same answer, is that they're still going through all the submissions that were handed in. But it's been over a year and a half, and while they're going through the submissions, this indiscriminate fishing is still carrying on. Back in 2018, there was a ban that was put in place on the large vessels fishing for sprat in Irish waters. So this was a really huge step for marine conservation in Ireland at the time. There was less than 2% of our waters that were actually designated as marine protected areas at that time. So having this fisheries management measure in place made a really big difference to the broader marine environment. But unfortunately, this was overturned. And it was overturned not because it wasn't environmentally needed or it wasn't scientifically robust, it was overturned on a legal technicality. So the Irish government basically forgot to tell the UK government and the North of Ireland government about these restrictions. And so 2 fishermen took them to court and they managed to get the ban overturned. So there's a few groups that are working on this in Ireland. One group is Save Our Sprat, and they're calling for a moratorium on sprat fishing before the end of the summer, because in September is whenever sprat actually reproduce in Irish waters. So that's whenever the fish are going to be gathering in huge shoals, and they're really closely packed together, so the boats can very, very easily come in. A lot of them are pair trawling as well, so it'll be 2 boats side by side with a massive net in between them, and they can literally just take out everything very, very easily. So Save Our Sprat are calling for a moratorium on this. The Irish Wildlife Trust is also part of a broader coalition of NGOs in Ireland called Fair Seas, and we've been calling for new marine protected area legislation in Ireland because we don't have national marine protected area legislation in Ireland. Our MPAs are designated under EU law. We currently only have just over 9% of our waters designated, and they're not effectively managed. A lot of them are paper parks. So having this ban on industrial trawling for sprat in our inshore waters would be a huge positive step for marine conservation. We also believe that the inshore waters, they should be prioritised for small-scale local fishermen. Huge industrial trawlers should not be coming into that area and taking the fish out. And what's even worse is that these fish are not being used for human consumption. They're actually being turned into fish meal for fish aquaculture as well. So really, a fishery should be managed for human consumption and should be managed for the species that rely on that fish as well. So you can imagine all of our disappointment when at UNOC on Monday, our Taoiseach, which is the Irish Prime Minister, Micheál Martin, made a speech. And in his speech, he didn't mention anything about fisheries management measures for sprat or anything about marine protected areas, even though he has said publicly that he wants Ireland to be a leader in marine policy. So we were very disappointed that there was no new measures that were announced. So that's why I thought we'd sort of come and talk to you a bit today about what's going on, and hopefully we can get a bit of amplification for what's happening. We've got 2 petitions at the moment. Fair Seas have a petition which is calling on the Irish government to release new marine protected area legislation, and Save Our Sprat also have a petition which is calling for the end to the unrestricted and unregulated fishing of sprat in Irish waters. So hopefully someone here today can help us spread the word, spread the message, because really if we got these measures in place, it would make such a positive impact to not only the whales in Irish waters, but the entire marine ecosystem. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Grace. Do not hesitate